Hello. Hey, everybody. Let y'all gather around here. Oh, man. Okay. As most of you know, when it comes to this type of thing and what I do, as often as I do it, the merging of what happens here in this room to my personal life is, it's all together. There's no escaping the whole idea, and never would I want to escape the idea of doing things differently than the way I do now. And what I mean by that is, that I base what I do, telling of personal stories, as the thing that I hang my hat on, news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. And my personal adventures oftentimes go to everyone in my immediate family. Excuse me, I'm not quite with it today. And of course, all of the friends and family that I deal with on a regular basis and share things with. So, dear friends of ours, the Veldinks, lost Kate yesterday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And so the idea today is, there is no way in that I would do a show today where everything is normal, and then, oh, by the way, a footnote, which frankly I have done that before, and I wish, and this is kind of like the changing of that whole thing, like when Brian Belgraf died. I wish I had just talked about Brian for a whole show and just did a remembrance show, that's the way I would do it going forward. And so kind of like live and learn. And same thing with my pal Bill Winningham in Knoxville, Tennessee, Diana's brother. Of course, those were a little different because it was such a shock. My mother obviously extended time away, so that was an entirely different thing. But this in particular is a young lady, 22-year-old Kate Veldink. Veldink, for those of you who don't know. For those of you who do know, I'm going to spend as much time as I will talking about the memories of Kate and the moments that took place in kind of like adventure style since the relationship with the Veldink family began. Now, and I'm warning you ahead of time, ladies, if you're saying, boy, I don't know, should I put on this makeup? I wouldn't. Honestly, I will not be able to keep it together. There's no way. The only way I'm able to do that right now, without just falling apart, is just I'm walling myself off, and even that is it's just not going to work. So, you'll be destroyed because of that, and so I'm just forewarning you. So maybe come back to this like after work or something like that. I want to give you that option because this is, when this type of thing happens, this is how it goes. For those of you who don't know, and this goes way back, the relationship with my family and the Veldinks, it goes way, way back. Oh, man, I don't have anything to blow my nose with. I found one on the ground. I actually found one on the ground. It's probably from like when my mom died. There's dog hair on it. Oh, God. Oh, by the way, you will laugh at portions of this show. This isn't going to be me just saying, hey, let's go be sad. Because, frankly, when I'm talking about remembering Kate, oh, my God, there's so many ridiculous stories. So that's kind of like the part of this, too. When you're looking back on someone's life after they pass, well, there's bound to be hijinks. So that's definitely going to happen. Excuse me. I should have turned down the mic when I blew my nose. What a slob that I am. Okay. Here it goes. So let's back up. Give you a little history of what's going on here. So you can maybe, if you don't know anything about the Veldink family, I'm going to give you, from my perspective, how this all began. In the summer, the end of the summer, 2004, Eric, Diana, Jim, Jack, Maddie move to Jenison, Michigan in July, actually, of 2004 from New Jersey. That's where the story picks up. Right near the start of the school year, I walked into this new school, legendary Pinewood Elementary School, which is just down the street from where we live. My kids would walk to school every day, send them out the door, and okay. I walk into this school of strangers. I don't know anybody, and I see that there is something on the bulletin board that says fundraiser walk for the Veldink girls. And it has their pictures, very, very young ladies, young kids. And I guess that would make Kate, I think, 5 at the time, and Olivia a couple of years younger. And I look and I see these 2 young girls, blonde-headed girls, and I'm like, and it says they have AT, and I don't know what that is, and as do a lot of people. They just don't have any idea what AT is, ataxia telangiectasia. And I remember thinking in my ignorance, well, I don't know what this is. I've never heard of it. And they look fine in this picture that I see, this still image. And I remember thinking to myself, well, they'll probably be okay because it must be just some type. I don't know why I thought that. Your mind does weird things with you at the time. And I had no idea what I was in for in terms of how our families would kind of blend over the years. Mary Veldink is a teacher in this school. My kids had Mary as a teacher. She's fantastic, an amazing educator. And there isn't a student that has been taught in the classroom by Mary Veldink that hasn't left with a wonderful experience. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, she's one of those amazing ones that when the kids look back on their school years, they're like, oh my gosh, Mrs. Veldink, incredible. So, and I think one of the things that, here we go. One of the things about this family is how resilient they are. I mean, nothing breaks their stride. These people are very faithful to God, and you don't have those moments where they denounce their faith because of the things that have happened to them, and the ability to spread so much joy and good news. Really incredible. So, as time passes, I get educated as to what is going on with these kids. Like a lot of people, I had no idea what ataxia telangiectasia was. And then over time, I figured it out. And when I learned that, and I'm going to play a piece for you and actually show it to you at the same time. When I first started to piece it together, it was almost like being drawn to the family and drawn to the organization. We went to Florida in probably 2006 or 2007, and that was Eric's not doing any type of running or endurance sports or anything like that, and I was raising money for the organization, which is an extremely grassroots organization. They hardly make any money whatsoever for research. But it was at this point that I realized that there's so much more to be able to help out. And this is one of these organizations that it's such a small percentage of people that get that this genetic disease affects. But they're not really on the radar of a lot of people for funding, so they count on. Excuse me. They count on donation, family and friends and loved ones of people who have AT to do the pig roast, to do the cornhole tournament, the fun run, and then the money is raised, and then that's how they make it go. So you're looking at an organization that might bring in $1 million a year to support funding. Excuse me again. Turning down the mic this time. So the AT marathon at Disney was a big thing. You know, that was like their big gigantic fundraiser. That's when I started to get involved with the organization, and then we were at this point making friends with the Veldink family, and there was just a lot happening with the girls as they were growing. The Veldinks have their oldest daughter is Abigail. She is married to Max. The age of the Veldink children kind of like coincides with the Zaituni and Zane family. Abigail is about the same age as Jim. The departed Kate about the same age as Jacqueline, and the departed Olivia about the same age as Madison. 7 years ago, nearly 7 years ago, in November, this coming November, it'll be 7 years. Olivia passed away. Olivia was only 13 when she passed. About 10 years ago, the folks at the Compass School of Film, I think that's the name of it, I'm probably getting that wrong, in West Michigan, volunteered their time and energy and expertise to make a short film, like 6-7 minutes, about the AT Children's Project. I'm going to show that to you right now. And it was done with a focus on Dave and Mary and their children, Kate, Olivia, and with comments from Abigail, the oldest, and just to kind of give you an idea of what was going on in the mindset of the Veldink family and how this all started. So I'm going to start that right now. Bear with me. There's a couple things I have to do in order to make this happen. So there we go.
And I remember Dave saying, yeah, something big is going to happen to us. And I said, I know. Mm-hmm. Like I knew. I said, I know something is. You know, I just didn't know what it was. Yeah. AT is like having the combined symptoms of different diseases like cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, cystic fibrosis. So you take the worst symptoms of those diseases and you roll them into one disease, and that's AT. Kate was just wobbly. I mean, the one incident that I remember is I was having a formal dinner party, haven't had one since. Came home and my mom had her, and the girls were sitting on the floor, and Kate tipped over. And I said, that's not right.
Then one day, I noticed it. Mary, have you noticed Kate's eyes are not clearing up? And, you know, which I think prompted me to go back to the internet. And then it was, yep, all of these symptoms are matching up. Our pediatrician here said years ago, you know, there was another family that had 2 kids with AT. And he said they have, well, you tell me.
Well,
you probably remember this.
They have expired. I'm like, oh, like a goodbye?
I've never been able to get past that. It went from supporting their shoulder to grabbing their pinky to a walker. From pinky to wheelchair is about 5 years.
Kate, I feel like, is a little more angry about having AT because she's older and she realizes more, but, you know, she's more willing to be upset because she has AT. She's not afraid to be herself. You can tell when she's really happy. You can tell when she's really sad. Like, there's no secrets with Kate.
Well, when Livy was born, there were no symptoms. She had big, bright eyes, and she started walking on time.
But we were at my parents' cottage and we were watching a movie on the bed, and she was sitting up and she tipped over, and I looked at my mom and I said, oh no, here we go again. I remember you said, I always imagined pushing one wheelchair. I never imagined pushing 2.
Like, I always think about if I had to have AT, I don't know if I could do it. But my sisters can do it, and they can do it really well.
We both happen to have the exact same gene that is defective, and our offspring, our children, have a 25% chance of that particular gene becoming dominant in their bodies. You roll that genetic dice on Abigail, clear. Kate, roll the dice, bingo, you've got AT. Livy, roll the dice, you've got it. So,
you know, they love to play, they love to hang out with their friends, they like to swim. So there are some things that are different. You know, their immune system isn't as strong as yours. They aren't going to be able to run across the yard and throw a football to you. But in all the things that are important, they're exactly the same.
Kate and Olivia are such amazing young women. They have such incredible potential being zapped from them because of this dreadful disease. Well, there are researchers around the world, and their life work has been to advance therapies and ultimately find a cure. For that, we are grateful. We are hopeful that that passion and that energy will continue. We go to bed at night praying for these researchers, and we wake up in the morning hopeful. You know, I would love for them to see, you know, this film, you know, so they can see our true appreciation and gratitude for what they do.
You know that there could be something out there that would make a difference. It's just not in your reach because of the lack of funding.
So it's up right now. It's up to the parents. It's up to the friends and the families to raise money, you know, $10 at a time, $100 at a time. You know, AT kids are living much longer today than they ever have been. As parents, we're so hopeful that soon some more therapies that can continue that, will be found.
We are very hopeful, but we need help. So we just have to be patient, hold on, and just wait to see what the future holds.
Well, there you go. That is that was spectacular. People that made that, those are students actually that made that from the Compass Film School, I think is the name of the organization. I apologize if I'm not getting that right. But yeah, so then it became clear as time passed of what AT was all about. So the way it ties in with the nonsense, there's so many adventures and things that happened that took place over the years that were just ridiculous. I had many amazing adventures. There was one thing that I'm especially proud of was the ridiculousness of the radio show, and the idea was floated that we were trying. I think I remember. I remember it's kind of foggy. You know me; it always fades from my brain. At about the same time on the radio show that it was revealed that I was in that silly, ridiculous Mr. 10 contest, where I'm there with my, all oiled up with muscles and look at that, which frankly, I thought it was just going to be like a bodybuilding competition. And not that I was freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I had put in a lot of time. And then when I get there, it's revealed that it's more like a man pageant. Like, swimwear, evening wear, interview. And, I'm an idiot, a million times more of an idiot back in 1990, whatever. But I stayed with it, and it was a complete embarrassment, and it turned to a legendary moment. Because at about the time that was discovered and revealed to the world, the idea that there was a clinical trial at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine or whatever it's called that needed funding for these AT kids. So the carrot was dangled to the audience, who once again had my back and the back of those kids. The idea was floated that if we raised the money for that clinical trial, I would agree to get a tattoo from one of the still shots of the Mr. 10 video where I'm dancing around in my stupid Speedo. And, well, you guys, you answered, and a ton of money was raised. You guys blew it out of the water. It was well more than, I think it was closer to $100,000. $5 and $10 at a time. It was absolutely a very, very fun grassroots thing. And whenever those types of things happen where there's like a shared goal, it's always just exceptional. So, that was great. And then I got the tattoo. I still have it to this day. I still get people saying to this day, hey, let's see the tattoo. Let's see the tattoo. And I oftentimes forget that it's even there, But there it is. There's the, that's weird. There's the Mr. 10 tattoo in all its glory. I always struggle getting to get it on view. But still looks good. The guy who put it on me is in prison. And, well, he's in prison now. He wasn't in prison then. And so that was great. And boy, this tattoo there's been more weirdo interactions because of this tattoo. back in the day when I used to get in the pool every day and swim my ass off. I remember there was one particular moment. There was a lady in the lane next to me, and she was just looking at me. So right away, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I can't wait to tell Diana that this chick 15 years younger than me thinks I'm smoking hot, and she just kept staring at me. And then it dawned on me, she was looking at the stupid tattoo, like, what is that? What is on your arm, you stupid idiot? But so that was quite an adventure, and I was very proud to be able to put that together. And then all of the trips to Florida for the Disney Marathon. And boy, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let's see. I wrote some notes down about Kate and some of the things that we encountered. You know, a lot of the stuff that we encountered as our family and the Veldinks, and there's several families that would get together and just do fun stuff. Go out to eat, just that type of relationship. Some of these stories, they don't really. Kate's not even in them. But if it had not been for AT, we wouldn't really be together. I met some amazing families over the years of the AT kids. Conrad and his family in Canada, and just dozens of other great people that would get together every year at Disney, and they're still working hard to try to find a cure for this dreadful disease. And Mary and Dave touched on it a little bit in that video piece, that it's just so strange how this thing works and what it does to a person. When she says it combines all the symptoms of, or the worst symptoms of muscular dystrophy, MS, Parkinson's, cystic fibrosis, it destroys a child's immune system or severely compromises it. In 25% of cases of AT kids, they develop cancer, and life expectancy is very, very short. And all of those things came true to the Veldink girls in one form or another. In this particular case with Kate, Kate finished up college shortly thereafter. Just recently, in fact, she was diagnosed with cancer, and so that fight had begun. And I never once got the impression that they were, like tired of fighting, and just like, at their wits' end. It seemed like eternally optimistic always with this group, and that's one of the things that I look at in their perspective on things now, because it would be completely understandable for a family or children or whatever to like have that I don't give a shit attitude about anything, and then give God the middle finger or something like that. And that never really happened. No, I need to say that more assuredly. That never even came into play in any way, shape, or form. And that's one of the things that I look up to about these folks, because of their unwavering faith, and it's really exceptional. So, and then with Kate, the immune system issue, this has been a struggle from day one. There's always keeping your fingers crossed that the young lady is not exposed to something. And then here we are at a time when a pandemic. Kate developed pneumonia somehow. This was not COVID related, as far as I understand it, at least as what I've been told. But pneumonia developed, and it, at some point, when they describe her as she is cured of AT and she ran to heaven, it's like, oh my God, it wrecks me every time. Ran to heaven to be with her sister Olivia, and holy cow. I mean, that is boy, some of those adventures we had at the Disney Marathon. I mean, there's too many to count, and one of the things that stands out the most incredibly to me is the story of it was kind of like The stars of the story are Kate and Diana, involved in a legendary caper that I talked about on the radio and I'm going to talk about right now. First of all, you got to understand, Kate is kind of a ball breaker. If she likes to get things done a certain way, and like any young lady, if things get a little off the rails, she's going to let you know about it. And also, she was as brash and bold as you would expect somebody who has to put up with a lot of shit. And there's a couple of things that stand out before I get to the story about Diana and her. There was one moment in particular, give you an idea of Kate. Kate did not like it. Occasionally, when you approach someone who is going through what Kate is going through, I guess it's understandable to think that a person who doesn't really know might think that there is some type of issue with the person's brain in terms of cognitive function. And this is what I mean by that. I have to be very sensitive. I don't want to make it seem, I have to be careful how I word this. But when you walk up to Kate, if you don't know her, I guess if you're not schooled or don't have any idea, you might not realize that she is as bright as they come and is in no way impaired in brain activity whatsoever. She understands you perfectly. She can tell you what's on her mind, but the muscular issues and the neurological issues make it so that her words do come out slower, but they're going to get out, and you better pay attention. And if you piss her off and assume like, oh, well, she's, she can't even think. She's in a wheelchair and she's talking in a way that I'm not used to. So clearly there's a cognitive issue. Not the case. And you are given no margin of error. Okay. She's going to put up with about 1% of shit before she's going to tell you to go to hell. Okay. And this was on display at one moment in particular, and I have to be very, very careful of giving you the details of this because, and if some of you know this story, don't worry. All the guilty parties will be covered. I won't. Diana and I witnessed an interaction with Kate. She's sitting there in her chair, and an individual walks up to Kate and says, "Hi, Kate. How are you? Are you doing okay, Kate? How's Cater?" And talking to her like, I don't want to say our word, but talking to her like our word. Like she's our word. And she's just looking at this individual. And we can see she's seething. And she knows she hates this, okay? And this continues. And this person has good intentions. This person is filled with nothing but love for her. Just needed maybe a little brushing. I wish someone would have told this individual, hey, you just talk to her. Just talk to her the same way I'm talking to you right now. You don't need to talk to her like she's an idiot or something like that. Okay? This is no problem. Just talk to her. And then be patient. She's going to answer your question, but just listen to it. Hi, Kate. And it's annoying as fuck. So this is going on. And then this person turns around to leave. And if this person had eyes in the back of their head, they would have seen Kate. It was a struggle for Kate to move. It was always shaky, and that's what the disease does, and two arms go up, and then two hands turn, and two middle fingers go up, and she's like, "Fuck you." She's like, "Fuck you." She gave the finger, double barrel middle finger. Holy shit. So that gives you an idea of what type of You know, she was no saint. No, she actually was, but she was the type of saint that, you know, Jesus or God is sitting there looking at her going, come on. Hey, look, you know, read the room here. You don't want to go around giving people double-barreled middle fingers here. Maybe just, I don't know, let it go. And she's like, fuck no way, bullshit. I'm not putting up with this shit. Nobody's going to talk to me like that. Oh, my God. So, now, being perfectly honest here, Diana and Kate were closer than I was with Kate. Anybody who's going to give someone double-barreled middle fingers behind their back is kind of like a spirit animal for the Queen of the Forest, because she'd do the same thing. That's kind of Diana. So these two, they had a much closer relationship than I did with Kate. So Diana is obviously much more, we're both incredibly distraught, but the connection was much deeper with Diana. That is true. Not to say ours wasn't with the rest of the family wasn't deep, but these two connected on more of a level. So at the Disney Marathon, you've got several days worth of races, 5K race, 10K race, and, you know, it goes on over several days. And so, hang on. It's a big adventure for us. So Diana and Mary and the rest of a lot of the neighborhood kids from Hudsonville, Jennison are all down there, and I'm down there, and they all go to the 5K. And that's their chance to kind of walk the event. And they start in the back. You got somebody's pushing Olivia. Diana's pushing Kate. And inexplicably, some lady gets enraged because Kate's wheelchair happens to brush up against a lady. Some lady in front during the start of this 5K. And this lady, this is Karen before Karen was a thing. She flips out over the top, losing her mind at Diana, yelling at Kate, yelling at anyone who could hear her name. And this is, so they're still walking. Diana's pushing her. And this lady's still going after her. And she says, I'm going to sue. Who's your insurance? She's just a typical ridiculous shit that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what? Huh? So finally, the redhead gets pissed. And Diana walks up to her and gets right in her face and goes, I got something for you. Why don't you fuck off? There's kids everywhere wearing Mickey Mouse ears and Pluto ears and Goofies walking around and Dumbo and all this shit. And Snoopy's not there. Snoopy has nothing to do with this. And then Kate is there, and so this is huge. The lady gets intimidated by Diana and ends up leaving. I'm still at home. They come walking back into the hotel room, and then Kate is there in the wheelchair. Olivia, the Veldinks, and Diana comes in, and then Jackie and Madison come walking up to me. They're much younger then. And I get up like, hey, how you doing? I'm just getting up because this is very early in the morning when the race was. And they go, hey, you won't believe it. What? Mom told someone to F off is how they said it. The little kid said that. And then you hear Kate. And now, Kate, you got to understand when I'm doing this voice, it's Kate spoke very slowly, and the words kind of sometimes blended together, and her voice was high-pitched. She's a young lady. So when I do this, it's not to mock her. It's to give you an idea of how it sounded. Yeah, Mom told some lady to F off. You know, happiest place on earth. Diana's telling people to F off. And then Kate goes, yeah, and it was awesome. Oh, my gosh. And I'm like, Jesus. And Dad goes, well, yes, I'll be a son of a bitch if she's going to do that to me. There's no way in front of all these kids try to intimidate us. The hell no, I'm not going to take that shit. Oh, my God. So these two were it was pretty fantastic. We did lots of other amazing things. There was a lot of amazing things that happened because of our connection to the family, and a lot of them centered around Disney. Okay. One of the early times that we went down there for the Disney Marathon, and this was all to raise money for the AT Children's Project. They still do these events to this day. The AT Children's Project volunteered at one of the water stops for the full marathon. Okay. So with that, you get signage, and it's as the runners approach, there's like 20,000 people are running this race. It says water stop brought to you by AT Children's Project. It's another way to get, the name of the organization out there in a grassroots effort style. So then, and all the volunteers who get to the mile marker in the middle of the night, they have to set up tables, and all the stuff is there at the mile marker. And we would all get there, and you set up the tables, and these giant pallets are plastic wrapped with water jugs and cups and powdered Gatorade and bottled water, big gallon jugs of water. And so we have to mix the Gatorade, put on these special gloves. We don't get anything contaminated. Mix the Gatorade, stir it with a giant spoon, and then fill up cups. And then we'd fill up pitchers, and then just kind of pour the cups. And then you put wood on top of the cups, and then another layer of them, and then a wood on top, another layer of them. So you have all of these. You have thousands of cups of Gatorade. The problem was, and I'm there with Dave Veldink, Kate and Abby's dad, and Mary, and Diana's there, and the late Brian Belgraf, and his lovely wife, Jen, and their sons, Logan and Ian. And this was a legendary moment. A lot of fun things happened that were hilarious that I've discussed before, but they're worth telling about. It stands, now's the perfect time. We ended up getting on this bus to start the day to go to the water stop. This is like mile whatever. It's one of the ones that you have to get there. You have to be on time. If you're late, the race starts, and the last thing you want to be doing is scrambling to get your water stop set up when there's runners approaching, okay, in this marathon. Somehow, we get lost. And the bus driver has no idea where we're going, and this is taking time, and we're confused, and we don't know what's happening. We finally get there late, way late. Now we have to scramble to get this shit set up. So we're busting our ass. And the guy who was the leader of Disney has a volunteer that leads the group, in this case, us, on what to do. And so he's, making sure everything's sanitized and things like that. And he's from Boston. I'll never forget it because I'm there with Belgraf and Ian and Logan and Jen and Diana. And this guy who's leading it, he's from Boston. He's a real ball breaker. And he's one of these people that if you don't do it his way, it's wrong. He's going to let you know about it. Typical East Coast horse shit, tough guy talk. And we were all fucking sick of this guy 1 second after he started talking. And then, so everything we did, he had a problem with. I mean, here we all we got to do is you put the water in the big orange jug. You take the powdered Gatorade, you rip the thing up, you dump it in. There's a big giant metal spoon. You stir it, you pour it into the jugs or into the pitchers, and then you pour it into individual cups. That is it. This is not rocket science, okay? He doesn't like the way we're pouring into the cups. So it's real simple. I'm pouring it into a cup. I go to the next cup. I pour into the cup. I go to the next cup. I pour into the cup. And then he picks up a cup and he drinks something. He goes, hey, yo, it's too sweet. Hey, yo, hey, it's too sweet here. We're going to have to back off on the... I'm sounding more like I'm from Brooklyn, but it's the best I can do it. Everything's loud and obnoxious. He can't just say it normally. Everything's got to be like he's screaming, hey, yo, yeah, hey. Hey, everything is everybody hates them. Midwest people, and they sometimes they mix with East Coasters, and then the Midwesterners have to kick their ass. because they're just too obnoxious. Can't handle it. Midwesterners aren't like that. Then I'm standing next to Logan and Ian Belgrave, pouring it into the cup, and he goes, "Hey, yo, yeah, you got to do bartender pour." And we all look at him like, "What?" "Yeah, yo, yeah, you got to take this thing and just pour it in there, bartender pour." And we're like, "What do you, the fuck is bartender pour? Speak English." "Yeah, like you're a bartender." I go, "You mean a bartender?" "Yeah, bartender. Bartender pour." And we don't know what the fuck. And he wants us to just be pouring it into the glass and just moving it over the glass so that the shit's, in the small amount of space between the cups is going to be, there's going to be shit pouring onto it because you're just you're moving your arm the whole time over all the field of cups. And it's like, first of all, it's a disaster. It's a complete mess, and it's just stupid. Why are you making it such a big deal about how we're pouring this shit? Who cares? Let's just pour it, get it done, and just the longer I'm talking to you and being disgusted by your filthy accent, the less time I'm going to have to get this shit done. So we're scrambling and dealing with this dick. So then we started, everybody started going, "Hey, yo, you bartender pour." So we're making fun of him. And so now we've had it. And so if anybody's not doing bartender pour, we're telling him, "Hey, yo, you got to do bartender pour. Hurry up there. Come on." Stupid. So, all right. We see the leader coming. This dude from Brazil, I forget his name, he's a pretty famous guy, and he runs with the goofy hat on for Disney and with the floppy ears. And so this is an elite runner, and he's going to win the damn thing like he does every year. And as he's running up, we finally got all of our work done. There's thousands of cups full of Gatorade, and with the 36 volunteers we have there, surely one of them is going to grab a cup and put their hand out like you do. Because if you don't know, at the water stops, the athletes, and of course the guy who's going to win the freaking race, he ain't going to stop, chit-chat, grab a cup off the table and just drink. "All right, thanks. Oh, this is delicious. All right, see you later." He's crushing. This guy's running probably like 4:55 a mile. Just blistering. We see him, and it doesn't take long before he's on us. The leader. One guy. One. Not one volunteer grabbed a cup and stuck their hand out for this poor son of a bitch. And he's running, and he's now halfway through the water stop. You've got, 100 feet of tables. No one is offering him a drink of the Gatorade. And he says, acts, what do you call it? Broken English. "What the fuck?" He can't. No. And finally, he goes and grabs one. He grabs it while he's running off the table. In the process, he does the Billy Sims and clears off a whole row of cups full of Gatorade. All the shit goes flying. That dude's all sticky, and he's pissed. And he gets a little Gatorade in him, and then he keeps going. So, and everybody's like, "Uh-oh, whose fault was that?" And Boston idiots going, "Hey, what the hell you doing? Hey, yeah, what the hell? What we got to do to get this guy a drink here?" And then I look at Dave Veldink, and this is so Dave. He's like, "Well, we failed there. Well, we got to do better." And I just laughed my ass off. I was like, "Yeah, I'd say we did pretty poorly." Holy shit, that poor guy. So now this event is freezing. The day before for the half marathon, it was snowing at the starting line. You may hear O'Neill squealing in the background. He's having a dream. Hold on. Hey, big guy. You okay? He's dreaming about something. The day before, it snowed at the starting line. I'll never forget that. Orlando, Florida, Disney, starting line. And you know who didn't check the forecast ahead of time? Logan Belgrave, you dumbass. what we would do is you go to like Goodwill and buy some garbage clothes for like $3, and then you go to this because you can't bring anything with you to the starting line. It's a security issue. No one can see you off or anything like that. You just go by yourself to the starting line, and then when you're ready to start, you shed your clothes right away. Just throw them off to the side. They collect them. They give them away to the locals at the homeless shelters. It's 31 degrees. Idiot is in a pair of shorts and a tank top. We get to the starting line an hour before the gun goes off. Now, truth be told, Logan runs at 5.5 minutes a mile, maybe faster at that point. So he'll be fine once the race starts. But for an hour, and it's like he's lucky he didn't get hypothermed. So like a few minutes before the race, people start to shed their clothes ahead of time. And Dum Dum is stepping out of the corral, the starter's corral, and picking up clothes. Like puts a sock on his hand and grabs a blanket that somebody leaves behind, and then like 3 minutes of cozying up in strangers' clothes, and the gun goes off. Idiot. It was so damn cold. So the next day was the same thing when we were sitting there getting ready. And Veldink and I and Belgraph are doing our thing. And then we noticed that as the race is going on, people are starting to slip. All of the liquid that from the cups is freezing. Okay? We have a hazard on our hand. People have no idea that the water stop is frozen. We ended up having to get salt. Somebody had to go somehow get their hands on salt. I mean, like cans of Morton table salt, okay? And we're sprinkling the road with salt in order to get the freaking grip because people were wiping out. Especially some of these folks, man. They're just trying to muscle their way through a marathon. It's not easy. And they're wiping out. I mean, injuries are occurring because of this. Holy crap. We brought together so many people to those Disney events. And we started the radio show Cure Team. And so because of talking about it on the radio, it became kind of like our pet charity at the time. And so I would petition the audience, you're asking a lot. It's a big ask. So, but we managed, and the people came out in droves. And we would just hope, I mean, when I say droves, I mean a few dozen families. And that's a lot because what you're asking them to do is you sign up for the Disney Marathon, and then that has cost, okay? In order to, what I mean by cost is when you would sign up for the AT Children's Project Disney Marathon, you agree to raise $600 for the AT Children's Project. And then what they do is they have the infrastructure on their platform to give you a fundraising page. You've seen these before, and then you say, hey, friends and family, I'm running the Disney Marathon to help support leukemia, lymphoma, or whatever. Different types of charitable organizations. AT was no different. So we'd get dozens and dozens of families who would listen to the radio show and would sign up to do this. Some people had never run a step before in their life. And so they would answer that call, and then they would raise a lot of money. So the minimum was $600. And if you, by chance, whatever, life got in the way and you couldn't raise it, you would then be on the hook for the $600. And then it's a cash donation. You still participate in the festivities. Got to find your own way down there, of course, pay for that yourself. So that's asking a lot. But people did it. And, oh, my God, just kind of like a really, really spectacular thing. And when you're in the moment, you're kind of like, oh, wow, this is great. But it isn't until you get years away from it. You're like, wow, we had a lot of great times with those people. So I'm very, very grateful for all of the efforts by all those people all through those years. So thank you. I met a lot of people who I wouldn't have met otherwise. Both listeners of the radio show who just wanted to hang out. And so it was just awesome. I can't say enough. And then a lot of these people still to this day have been committed to AT. And that's just tremendous. So well done. One of those people was my pal Andy Phelps, who I have not seen in a long, long time, who he himself is in a wheelchair from a car accident. And he's a quadriplegic. He still has some movement in his shoulders. And I mentioned Compass Film School, who made that video that we watched earlier. Andy is is involved with that school, and he's a filmmaker himself. And it's really great to watch Andy do his work, because most of it he does with a stylus in his mouth and like a trackball. And he's still able to shoot scenes and make product and videos and things like that by using. I mean, no moss grows under his feet, as my dad would say. Nothing slows him down. So Andy reaches out to me. I think this is one of our very first AT marathons, and he says, "Hey, I am going to go to the AT marathon, and I am going to be in the race." And I'm like, "Okay, what's the joke?" He goes, "No, my friend Eric from Compass Film School is going to push me in the race." Now, you've seen Dick Hoyt over the years, God rest his soul. You know, I think he's the grandfather, the godfather of running these types of races. So, you know, I'd seen that, and I was like, well, this is going to be awesome. We got a guy, and they did all the fundraising themselves. They did the same thing that everybody else did, these two. And they drive down to Florida, and they're going to participate in the marathon. They did not ask if there's any rules or regulations or anything like that. They just show up on the race morning of the marathon. And I remember seeing them on that cold day. And they don't have like, you know how like when you would see Dick Hoyt, he would have very specific type of apparatus to put his son Rick in. Or when I would do the Reeds Lake thing, there was, Jeff Joush, you have it's not like it's an old school Everston Jennings wheelchair that you're pushing along. It's something built for the road. Well, Andy didn't have that. Andy had an old school Everest and Jennings, move you from surgery to the front door type of wheelchair that somebody picks you up in their car, and then they take the wheelchair back. Andy is going to have Eric push him 26.2 in his stupid Everest and Jennings. Okay? Now, Andy's not even strapped into the fucking thing. So, my first impression when I learned this is that idiot's going to hit a rock and Andy's going to go flying out of the chair. There's some real safety concerns with this. And they haven't asked anyone permission. This is a classic case of ask for forgiveness and not permission. Because they go up to the starting corral and the first volunteer, and you have to go through all these different checkpoints you have to go a long way of walking before you get to the starting area. And this person goes, "Stop. What are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, I'm here running for the AT Children's Project. Kate and Olivia Veldink." Eric says that. And Andy's just sitting there. And they go, "Well, this is not a wheelchair race. There are no wheelchairs. We have never had a wheelchair in this race, ever. No one's ever done this." And they said, "Well, today's a great day to start. Smell you later." And they go through it. So they also think that Andy is special, okay? They think that Andy is our word. So Andy realizes this, and he doesn't start to act a particular way. He's just keeping his mouth shut. Eric's doing all the talking. You don't want to be the guy at Disney, happiest place on earth, who's going to say it's a PR nightmare if you look somebody in the face. Yeah, this is his, I'm here. And Eric's making up stories as he goes. Every stop that the security stops him, he's making up another layer to the story. Yeah, this is Make-A-Wish. This he's going to be dead in like 8 minutes if we don't get him to the starting line. And then Andy's just sitting there like, holy shit, I can't believe this is working. Then they pass another hurdle. Oh yeah, this kid. Oh my God, yeah, he's on his last leg. He can't even talk. He doesn't even know what's going on. But his one dying wish is to see Mickey Mouse. And all right, you can go through. So these people, they kept like passing the buck to the next guy, which somehow gets Eric to the starting corral. And there they are. And they've done it. They have broken every rule in the book. And there's like people walkie-talkie. Yeah, we got a guy in a wheelchair coming. Yeah, what are we got to do? All right, let him pass. Yeah, nobody wants to deal with this in PR. Over. You know, they don't want to have to put up with this, but can you imagine? They're worried at Disney about the implications of if they let our word guy, who's on his last leg, is with the Make-A-Wish crew, is going to be stonewalled, and they're like, go on back home. No, dude, and the dude was not trained. Eric, he's young though, so whatever, and he made it. He ran all 26.2, and so. And it was an incredible feat, pushing an old school wheelchair. Oh my God, that is really, really hard to do. They did it. What an adventure, And then they get done, and the people that put the medals around your neck, they put one around dude's neck, they put one around Andy's neck, and and Andy said he was getting pissed off too because they were talking to him like he's special. Hi, Andy. If Kate was there, she would have said, "Give him the finger." Oh my God. So that then though everybody thought they were gay, and there's a reason why everybody thought they were gay, and it's all semantics and wording, because that night we had like the big banquet or something like that, and actually this is before the race. The night before is the banquet, and they're going to do it, and they have no idea what they're in store for, but they eventually obviously made it. But they're there at a table, these two, and I'm kind of talking them up because I speak before the as part of the festivities. So there's like a lot of people there, and I introduce, because their story is great. Up to this point, it's been quite an adventure. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, Andy Phelps and his partner Eric. Now, when I said partner, I meant running partner, except I didn't say running partner. I said partner. So everybody thinks that, Eric's going to give Andy a BJ in his chair later that night, because I said Andy Phelps and his partner Eric. Like, oh my God, he's oh yeah, he's one of them gay guys. Oh my God. What an adventure. All because of the amazing relationship with my friends at the AT Children's Project, because of our relationship with the Veldinks. Diana and her relationship with Kate was very, very special. Like I said, those two just connected. Everybody in the community who knows the Veldink family is crushed. This is unbelievable to think that. I think, to me, the idea of this happening twice, and all the while they had to have been thinking that these days would happen and that they would not outlive their children. And that's the type of thing that is so panic-inducing. It would you would see a person would start to drink, or perhaps take drugs, or a marriage would dissolve, or something worse would happen. It kind of that type of anxiety that would eat away at a person. And I've always viewed this whole family and extended family, the entire group of people, with great admiration, because of, I don't know, it's just they've always been very, very focused on what got them to that point, and that is God. They've never wavered in that, and I've always been extremely grateful that those people are in this world, the Veldinks and their extended family. When you hear stories about people who maintain their faith despite these things, that's like, honestly, it would be understandable if a person ran away from God, but they never did that. And I think that's pretty freaking great. So at some point this week, I believe near the end of the week, there will be a celebration of life for the departed Kate Veldink. May she rest in peace. And God bless the family and the friends and the loved ones who will celebrate that with the family. And so I just wanted to spend my time here today just sharing these things that I thought about from my time that I knew Kate on this earth, and her sister Olivia, who passed away nearly 7 years ago. I just wanted to on this podcast make it all about that, and that is all. I have nothing more to say today, and I think that's the way it needs to be. So I will spend the rest of the day just kind of laying low, and I'll talk to you folks tomorrow. So I appreciate you for watching this and listening to it, and I really can't stress enough in closing where it says donate to help AT kids. If you would consider, in the memory of Kate Veldink and all of the AT children that have passed on, preceding her and all of their families, because honestly, as has been said many times before, the only thing that is in the way of making this terrible disease a distant memory is money. And it's not like you're just throwing money at something and like, oh, well, yeah, what is my money going to? Quite literally, the money goes to the cost of a test tube or any type of medical supplies for very, very smart people at some of these institutions that work very hard trying to find a cure for AT. A lot of genetic work, clinical trials on AT kids. If you are interested in learning more about it, at atcp.org, everything you need to know is there, and you can sign up for like a newsletter which keeps you informed. The volunteer who is in charge of it, Brad Margus, he 2 children with AT, and Dave is on the board too, and these are people that are all working very, very hard to make sure that all the necessary steps in a cost-effective way go towards AT research. If you were to look up the rating of this charity, it's one of the highest you can find. They run a very, very bare bones operation. You have, I don't know, half a dozen people who earn a paycheck through their administrative efforts to keep this going. Everything else is volunteer. As years have passed, I've seen the number go from $1.5 million raised, and then that's it for the year, which roughly 94% of that goes towards all the funding for the research. I've seen it dwindle down over the years, and I would love nothing more in the memory of Kate Veldink and all the AT kids who have passed before her, for everyone within the sound of my voice to go to atcp.org and drop a few bucks, whatever you can spare, into their bucket. And perhaps one day this will be in the rearview mirror. All right, folks, God bless you. I love you very much. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Rest in peace, Kate. Rest in peace, Kate Veldink.